It's a new year, so what better time to look at my top 23 most anticipated games of 2024. Just looking through this list has gotten me super excited. And why 23, you ask? Beats me. These are the games I'm excited about. Oh, and Happy New Year. We're kicking it off with number 23, Earth Defense Force 6. This is the 6th mainline game of this long-running over-the-top monster shooter. I never played much of the other games, but this looks to be more of the same. You are an EDF, Earth Defense Force soldier, and humanity's last hope. Only 10% of the world remains after the previous invasion. You're here to help the remains of humanity survive. Don't expect fancy graphics, but what you can expect is big monsters, over-the-top violence, and fully destructible environments. Oh, and 4-player co-op. Where do I sign up? Number 22. Another crab's treasure. This is a Souls-like where you play as a hermit crab on a journey to reclaim his repossessed shell. Sounds like an awesome premise to me. All the usual Souls gameplay is here. Dodging, battling difficult enemies, and big boss battles. But also picking up new shells for bonuses and funny situations against weird sea animals. It seems to know its intended audience pretty well and advertises with a one-shot kill difficulty for when things get too hard. And since I'm a wimp when it comes to Souls-like, this sounds like music to my ears. This looks like good silly fun, and it releases somewhere in 2024. Number 21, Replace. This is an interesting looking 2.5D action sci-fi platformer with some of the most amazing pixel art I've ever seen in a game. What's even more impressive is that this seems to be the first game for this small developer. We play as an artificial intelligence trapped in a human body, and it promises cinematic platforming in a cyberpunk world after a catastrophic nuclear event. Oh, and also there's some really cool looking free flow fighting and shooting.
We trusted you. Let you live among us. Now your friends are slaughtering the people they swore to protect.
Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League on number 21, February 2nd, 2024. You might be surprised this one isn't higher on the list, as it looks absolutely epic. But I have some reservations about this one. One, this is mainly designed as a multiplayer co-op live service game, which I've had quite my fill of by now. And number 2, Gotham Knights. The saving grace and reason that it's on the list at all is that it's being developed by Rocksteady, the guys behind the Batman Arkham games, which are, as everybody ought to know, some of the best superhero games around, rivaling even the new Spider-Man games. Try to argue me on that one. Play as CT Boomerang, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and King Shark, and take down the evil Justice League, who really do look appropriately menacing, all red-eyed and corrupted looking. Metropolis, the adopted home of Superman, is where this game takes place, and it looks great. Creepy looking with alien looking structures all over. This game has gone through a bit of a development hell. Has been delayed several times now, so be excited but cautiously so. Oh, and some good news, Rocksteady has said that there's going to be a single player mode after the game's been released. On number 19, Tekken 8. What to say about Tekken? Looks amazing as always. We continue the story of Mishima and Kamasi bloodlines and their father and son grudge match. I'm not exactly dialed into the Tekken story, so if someone knows what this means, feel free to let me know in the comments. Something interesting I did learn is that Tekken is the longest running video game saga, and that's what the site said anyway. 32 fighters to choose from and a new arcade single player mode, which seems to be a career mode where you play Tekken 8 matches in arcades, building fame and glory while simultaneously playing through the Tekken 8 storyline. There's also a new combat mechanic called Heat. It enhances the unique characteristics of each fighter, you deal more damage and you have special moves while in Heat. As usual, all of this is made possible by Bandai Namco Games, who both publish and develop this game. Number 18, Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2. Here's another game I want to be optimistic about. But, like with Suicide Squad, I'm hesitant. That game had some trouble, but this game went through a real development hell, and it has only recently gotten back on track. After 2 years of indefinite delay, Paradox Interactive has tapped development studio Chinese Room from games like Dear Esther and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture to continue development. After everything, here's what we can expect. Play as an elder vampire in modern-day Seattle. Decide who will rule and what the city will become. Drink blood, use vampire powers, both mental and physical. Just overall, be a badass. I mean, check out the trailer. It all looks pretty good. But historically, the vampire games have been a mixed bag at best. So be warned, it could be great, or it could be a train wreck. Either way, it's gonna be interesting.
You want us to trust you. But the truth is, you You scare us.
Number 17, Avowed 2024. This is the new game from Obsidian, the guys behind games like The Outer Worlds, Fallout New Vegas, and of course Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2. So, expectations are high. Avowed plays in the Pillars of Eternity universe, and the setup is intriguing. There's a mysterious plague corrupting the world and its people, and you're sent by your king to investigate and solve this health crisis. If I had to describe it, I'd say this is Skyrim with guns, and all of this with a touch of steampunk. I'm excited for this one. No release date yet, but slated for 2024. Number 16, Little Nightmares 3. Most of us will be well familiar with the critically acclaimed Little Nightmares series. Another one on the list by Bandai Namco. 3 is being made by a new development team, Supermassive Games. Guys who also made stuff like The Quarry, so they're well familiar with horror material. At a glance, we're still looking at a side-scrolling horror platformer with environmental puzzling. Difference being that you now play as a duo, with Low and Alone. Some good names. We're searching for a way out of nowhere. So, you can expect a lot of puzzling, and it all seems to be designed around co-op. Similar to something like It Takes Two. We'll have to see how this plays in single player. Other than that, expect to be chased by a lot of creepy otherworldly creatures, with no recourse other than hiding. Number 15, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This one came as a bit of a surprise when it was announced at the Summer Game Fest this year, and I have to say I wasn't into it at first. But the more I see of this game, the more I want to play it. The prince is kidnapped and taken, but they didn't count on you. You have to save the empire and get the prince back. In our arsenal, we have time powers and acrobatics that would make Cirque du Soleil performers blush. All set in a beautiful Persian Metroidvania world. The boss fight in this trailer looks really cool too. Speed powers, time powers, cool bow and arrow powers. This one's coming out soon, January 18th. Number 14, we've got Hellblade 2. If you thought the first games on this list looked good, get excited for what's still to come. Hellblade 2 is the sequel to the breakout hit Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. What sets these games apart from other Vikings-themed games is they're focused on mental health. Senua, the badass female Viking protagonist, battles with severe psychosis. Hallucinations, visions, sounds, everything. And you never know exactly what to trust. The second game will be just as focused on mental health. Fight your way through the mythical Viking Iceland. The graphics look insane, and the story looks equally good. Ninja Theory, the developers of DMC and Heavenly Sword, are again at the helm, so the game is in good hands. 13, Hollow Knight Silksong. I can't have a most anticipated games list and not mention Silksong. This game has been in development for almost 5 years now, and it's almost become a meme for the fans who've been expecting a release announcement for the past couple of years. What else to say? Unlike the name suggests, we don't play as the Hollow Knight this time, but Hornet, the princess protector of Hollowness. Yeah, she's been captured and brought to an unfamiliar land where you have to battle foes. Yes, really. And solve a mystery. That's what the blurb says. There's new powers, new foes, and it's much larger apparently. Hurry up, Team Cherry.
As we battle against the bugs for democracy, the automaton threat grows more menacing by the day.
Helldivers 2, February 8th. This one looks really cool. It reminds me a lot of Risk of Rain 2, a game that took a similar game trajectory from the first to the second game. Helldivers 1 is a fast-paced twin-stick shooter that I can't say much about since I never played it. The second one, however, is a third-person shooter with jetpack flight mechanics. And this looks to be a roguelike possibly, shooting monsters, aliens, and insect-like creatures. I am getting very strong Starship Trooper vibes from this in the best possible way. Overall, there's not a whole lot of info out there yet, but keep your eye out for this one. It might surprise you. On number 11, Toxic Commando. This one and Helldivers are made of the same cloth, but I'm even more excited for this one. You should really take a look at the full trailer after you watch this. I couldn't play the music here because of copyright, but it looks really good. We're looking at another third-person shooter style game, but this time in the vein of something like Left 4 Dead, with co-op multiplayer where we try to survive hordes of monsters. And the world has been ruined yet again, this time by an experimental attempt to harness the Earth's core. Whoever thought that was a good idea. This naturally ended in disaster, and now we're left with eldritch abominations, turning the living into undead monsters. You and your fellow undead commandos need to put a halt to this. This game looks freaking cool, and that's coming from someone who doesn't even like multiplayer co-op games. Plus, it has John Carpenter's name attached to it. What could possibly go wrong?
On this day, we welcome
Number 10. Pacific Drive, February 22nd, 2024. I am really excited for Pacific Drive. The concept of this game sounds awesome. Listen to this. It's a survival driving game where you need to make your way through a post-apocalyptic world. Details on the story are slim so far, but your main companion is your car, which you can upgrade, tune, and pimp, as the kids say. It looks like you travel across a map like in many roguelikes. You discover secrets, encounter aliens, unravel mysteries, stuff like that. And once you get to your destination, you get out and it plays more like a first-person survival game. And from the graphics, I'm kind of getting an Outer World kind of feel. This is the first game from Ironwood Studios. Let's hope it's a banger.
Nothing on the sensors yet.
On number 9, Star Wars Outlaws. This is, I believe, Ubisoft's first attempt at a Star Wars game. And let's be honest, it looks pretty good. Trailer promises that it's going to be the first open world Star Wars game. Also of note, that it's going to be a much smaller, more grounded story. You play as Kay, an outlaw who just wants to make a name for herself, who's helped by her cute little alien buddy Nix. The feel of the game is very similar to the 2 Jedi games. Fast, fluid, jumping, fighting and shooting. But also, there's space combat this time, which I am very excited for because it looks awesome. Finally some news on Stalker 2, and supposedly this game is coming Q1 2024. This game was announced a long time ago to the excitement of many fans, only to be disappointed when the game got cancelled. The original came out in 2007, if you can believe it, so we've been waiting for almost 17 years now. And I'm sure the trailer speaks for itself, but just to give a little more context, the game plays in post-apocalyptic Russia. You explore the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Why? No one knows. This is a first-person shooter sim with horror elements, very similar to something like the Metro games, which I'm also a big fan of. Also noteworthy is that these games are being made in the Ukraine by GSC Game World, the guys from the Cossack series and obviously Stalker.
Have you ever talked to a doctor about your condition?
The recent Alone in the Dark games have been anything but stellar. But in 2018, THQ bought the rights to the series, and they are doing a complete reboot of the 1992 original that started it all. We're talking a complete reimagining as we've seen in Resident Evil 2, for example. As in the original, we return to the Decado Manor in the shoes of Edward Carnby, who's voiced by David Harbour, the guy from Stranger Things. And if that's not exciting enough, we also get to play as Emily Hartwood, voiced by Jodie Comer. Expect lots of Lovecraftian horrors, shifting realities, psychological horror, and classic survival horror. This looks absolutely great, and I can't wait. Release date, March 20th, 24.
From this moment forth, thou art arisen. Charge and do.
Number 6, Dragon's Dogma 2, March 21st, 2024. The original was a cult classic with a lot of cool ideas. Dragon's Dogma 2 was announced at the PlayStation Showcase in June 2022. And it's almost here and we're excited. Promises more of what made the first game so good, but bigger and less janky. Massive climbable monsters are back, spawn system is better and improved, and the graphics in the RE engine look gorgeous. Which is good, because the original from 2016 hasn't aged that well. And of course, an all-new storyline. Well, mostly. You're once again the Arisen, and of course, you're the only one who could stop the fell dragon. What I remember most from the first game is the sense of danger when going out at night. Unlike other games, like for example Skyrim, you really can't see anything without a light source. And this makes coming out at night so much more exciting. Plus, the baddies coming out at night are much more difficult. But of course, rewards are also bigger. Hopefully, they bring this sense of danger back too. This is gonna be good. I'm excited.
What is your craft? My craft is death.
Number 5, Warhammer Space Marine 2 on September 9th. This one's quite a ways off, but the gameplay trailer already looks awesome. The large-scale battles with the Tyranids look great. No surprise really, as this comes directly from Saber Interactive, the people behind, among other things, the World War Z game, which featured, you guessed it, massive hordes of zombies. You play once again as Captain Titus, this time demoted to Lieutenant, so I guess Lieutenant Titus. Titus is allowed to rejoin the chapter of Ultramarines and has also undergone the Rubicon Primaris. Basically an even more badass version of what he already was. This will be a single player game with AI squad mates or multiplayer co-op. I'm ashamed to say I've never played the first game, but I am fully ready to heed the call of war and pick up the Ultramarine mantle for this second one.
We've got your back. I've got your back. Demons, dragons, darkspawn.
Number 4, Dragon Age Dreadwolf. We honestly haven't seen much about this latest BioWare entry, and given that it's been in development since 2015, that's reason for concern. On the other hand, BioWare are the wizards behind gems like KOTOR, Dragon Age Origins, and not to forget the legendary Mass Effect. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and just be really excited about this game. This will be the 4th entry in the Dragon Age series, and from the looks of it, the tactical turn-based strategy gameplay from the other games is being swapped out for something more real-time, possibly something similar to the fighting system in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. The world teeters on the knife's edge and needs a new leader to challenge the Gathering Storm. And guess who that's gonna be? And that's pretty much all we know. Not much to go on, but let's be optimistic.
Just look at it all.
Number 3, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, February 29, 2024. I'm probably gonna get a lot of crap for putting this on number 3 and not number 1 what it should be. But before you get out your pitchforks, hear me out. Obviously I'm super excited. How could I not be after the finale of part 1? Having said that, this game isn't coming to PC for at least another year. Plus, the games I have on 1 and 2 totally deserve those spots. But first back to FF7. We're back as Cloud and we're leaving Midgard for the wilds of Gaia. And the gameplay seems to reflect it, as we seem to be moving away from the linear narrative gameplay from the first part to a more open world model in this second one. Tifa, Barret and of course Sephiroth are all back and making appearances, now looking amazing. So far, I'm absolutely loving what Square Enix has done with the story, and I am very curious to see what directions they're taking it next.
Enemy strike craft coming in fast. Pick your targets.
Close range too high.
Number 2. Homeworld on March 8th. It might come as a surprise for many people to find this one so high up on the list, but I am absolutely excited for this third entry in the Homeworld series. It's almost been 10 years since the remasters in 2015, close to 25 years since the first game was released. In case you're not familiar, this is a one-of-a-kind, large-scale, 3D space combat RTS, with storytelling that stands out from anything else you'll find out there. If you've ever actually wanted to play those large-scale Star Wars battles from the movies, this is the game for you. And the game design holds up remarkably well for a game that's almost 25 years old. Another feature in the game that I think is really cool, that the fleet is persist, meaning if you lose a ship in an earlier mission, the next mission you'll have less ships and options. Third game promises more of the same, plus the new massive space derelicts to explore. A continued storyline from the first two games, awesome graphics, gameplay overhaul to bring it in the current decade. If the third game's even half as good as the first two, we're in for a treat.
Now go. Death to Kronos.
Death to Kronos.
Number 1. Hades 2, Q2 2024, Early Access. Hades 1, the first game, is an absolute powerhouse, combining amazing isometric hack and slash action with a roguelike base and a deep, evolving storyline. I love this game so much, and I'm proud to say that I actually finished this one multiple times. Not to be confused with completed, I never did that. In this second one, we don't play as Zacharias, the Prince of the Underworld, but his sister, Melino, the Princess of the Underworld, as she takes on the Titan of Time, Kronos. The game itself looks similar to the original, isometric viewpoint and hack and slash gameplay. Boons from the Olympian gods are also back, meaning every run will be completely different. Other than that, new weapons and magic, a larger world to explore, new challenges and locations, and of course, most importantly, an even bigger, fully voiced cast, with an even deeper narrative than the first game. This will be the first sequel that Supergiant Games has brought us, and so far they've given us nothing but gems. Bastion, Transistor, Pyre, and of course Hades. And I'm sure Hades 2 is going to be no different. This game's coming to Steam and other platforms Q2 2024 in early access. I am super excited for this. And those are the 23 games I'm currently most excited for. What are you guys excited for? Let me know in the comments. Also, check out this video for some of the weirdest games on Steam. Take a look. You won't believe some of the stuff that's on there. That's it, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.